Yo, Wendy.
Hello to you too. How are you?
I'm good, and there's a reason that we are like this, dressed
Well,
like
there
this.
is a reason we're like this. You know, we're in a hip hop state of mind. But before we even
Absolutely.
share that with you, oh my God, Tim, I threw the most fabulous event with
I
the incredible
saw.
board of Triversity, located in Milford, Pennsylvania. We had to really shift everything at the 11th hour. We would have been rained out, but our event was called Can't Cancel Pride. It was called Pike County Pride. Next year, it's going to be Tri-State Pride. All right, that's a lot of names. You're wondering why? Because we ended up in Huguenot, New York, giving this amazing afternoon that turned out, believe it or not, even we had a drag show, we had activities, we had vendors, and I emceed the show. But the best thing about it was it turned into, I'm so proud of this, a family event. That's right, because this is what it's got to be about. Community coming together. And the drag show was absolutely gorgeous, fantasy, Broadway show tunes or popular tunes, and the little kids watching it were screaming out, "I love you."
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I mean, and the parents were completely supportive. So this is where we need to be going. And of course, we got out there, get out the vote, and this is where we all want to be. It warmed my heart to be raising money for Triversity. Many thanks to the camp that we worked with, Camp Reimagine, located in Huguenot, New York. And the last thing I'll say about it is Tim and I and Icovelli will be bringing you 50 Shades of Gay.
Yes, we will.
Right? October 28th. And it's a whole weekend, Halloween weekend.
Yeah, we're going to be out there for Halloween.
Camp Reimagine. And folks, if you're watching from the New York area, it is only 1.5 hours from New York by car. There's all kinds of ways to get there. We're offering an entire weekend. The show will be Saturday night with a dance party after. And we have two wonderful queens with us, Kay Gorgeous and somebody that you know, Tim, Urethra.
Oh, yes.
Is that ringing a bell, Urethra?
I think so.
Her real name is Brent, and she did Little House on the Ferry with you.
Oh, yes. From
Tim, where would you be if I couldn't?
Yeah, I did the show with her. Yeah.
Warm the cockles of your memory. Yes. So it's all good.
Yeah, this was Fashion Week this last week, and I was like bouncing all over town covering different shows. But last week I had went out for the Family Repertory company, had a dinner which was absolutely wonderful. I got to see some friends I hadn't seen in a long time. Then Stevie Boy last Thursday. Stevie Boy is a young designer that is just on point.
Stevie Boy, it sounds
incredible.
Hot.
Stevie Boy is wonderful. So I went and covered that. We did an episode of Comedy Sex Show out in Brooklyn. And then I was back in Manhattan on Saturday for, let me see, what was this called? Equal Humans. It was Fashion with a Purpose. And I interviewed Melba Moore, and who was absolutely fabulous. She
my God, we love Melba Moore.
And, Dougie Doug. He's so much fun. Oh, we had a ball in that interview. And then that evening was New York City Pride's thank you party for the volunteers. We missed you because I
couldn't. You know what? I'm doing so many events I can't. I need to have a clone. When is that happening?
I know. Then I moderated a panel for MAC, for the Manhattan Association of Cabaret, and then finalized with Adrienne Alicea's fashion show down at La Mama's, which was spectacular.
That had to be
incredible. It was incredible. And then lunch with Michael Musto on Monday. So I'm just wiped out. I don't even know what.
You're spent. But you know what? We're never too spent to tell you about what's up and coming at PANGEA. We have David Mills Friday at 9:30. The amazing, haunting sounds Carol Lipnick, who I adore, Sunday at 7 p.m. And oh my God, the highlight this weekend for me, there is going to be a brunch with male strippers. And are you ready for that? Sunday at 12 to benefit women's cancer. So how cool is that? And of course, you can find all of this on the PANGEA website, where we broadcast this show from every week.
Absolutely.
Well, Tim, I am so excited.
Firstly, I just have something to say.
Yes.
I just want to say, don't push me, because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head.
Yeah.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Take it away, Wendy.
Okay, well, for everybody watching today, if you can't guess who that is, my gosh, because you should have been tuned into the VMA Awards last night. Our guest today is a two-time Grammy winner. All right. And the first rapper to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Grammy Hall of Fame. He's formerly the lead vocalist and songwriter for Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. And you know what? I'm going to throw this out there. My all-time favorite song, it is White Lines. How much I loved dancing to that song. Put your hands together for Grandmaster Melle Mel. Yay!
Yeah. Baby.
Hey. Well, thank
How y'all
you.
doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good, great.
That was my attempt at rap.
So you're in the top 5 already.
All right.
Oh boy, here we go with the top 5. And you know what? Thank you, Melle Mel, because you know Tim hails from Indiana. He really had to work on getting that, but he did a good job. I saw you smiling, so thank you for supporting him. Woo, now I can take all my glasses off.
How are you doing? My God.
Yeah, real good. I just having a good time. Just finished doing the MTV Video Awards. So
Exactly. Yeah. Have you come down from that, or are you still on a high from that?
Well, I'm always high like that. So
yeah.
Higher, baby. Higher, baby. I never come down.
There you go. There you go. You gotta keep your spirits at a high level, especially nowadays.
That's right. What was last night? What was the most memorable thing about the VMA Awards for you being there? I've never gone, so.
Well, I think just the overall production value of the whole thing. I mean, if you watch what's actually going on, that's some great performances. But I was more impressed by like how those guys was changing the stage and different backdrops and everything. Is really very well put together piece of performance. The whole show in general was very impressive.
And isn't it amazing what
the technical aspects of it too, which from when you started, right, to now, I mean, it's like, right, Tim, night and day, what they're able to do and how they produce these things.
That's absolutely, it's definitely, and actually to be a part of the whole thing and do a performance, and and people, I think they took to it pretty good. So I think it was just overall it was a good event, because you came out there to have a good time with the people. The people had a good time. It was actually the culmination of the whole show, and I think they embraced hip hop, pretty good.
Excellent. Absolutely.
Were there any wardrobe malfunction? I watch these shows when I can. I got in too late last night. I'm going to look on YouTube and catch up on it. But did anyone have a wardrobe malfunction? I personally love when that happens.
Well, a lot of the people didn't have on enough clothes for the wardrobe.
Right, then you can't have a malfunction. That's a ticket. If you're not wearing anything, right?
Right, there you go. No,
work with me on this one. This makes a lot of sense. There's less than it can go wrong up on stage.
Let's go back to the 80s. Well, actually, no, let's go all the way back. Like, where were you born and raised in the Bronx?
Born and raised in the South Bronx.
What street?
We lived on Tiffany Street. That's like 163rd Street, around Southern Boulevard, Kelly Street, in that area.
My grandfather lived on Simpson Street.
Okay.
I grew up going out. Yeah, so I'm from the Bronx, Kingsbridge, but I grew up going to that whole area, Southern Boulevard. My dad helped start the Star Democratic Club there. I remember going there as a kid. So I love that you're from the Bronx.
Yeah, I'm originally from Indiana, but I moved to Washington Heights in 1983.
Okay.
Yeah, you know the Heights in 83.
Yeah.
And then there I was. But I was hanging out with a lot of friends, and we used to hang in the Bronx a lot. And I remember when hip hop or when rap first started, it was just such a revolutionary sound. Like how did that come about? How did you?
Yeah.
Well, I think the whole expression of hip hop, I think it basically came out of necessity because it was nothing there. So it was no after school programs, there was no play streets, so there was nowhere to go, there was nothing to do. And we just, kids in the street, and we had the music, and and we had, the ability to have a good time with the music and dance. And I think everything started from there. Because I started out not as a rapper, I started out as a b-boy.
As a what? Oh, b-boy.
As a b-boy. Yeah, I was a dancer.
Yeah.
And then it all evolved, listening to other people, just trying to be creative. And that's how, the basic 3 elements of hip hop got started. But like I said, it was out of necessity. We had nothing there. So basically hip hop became our normalcy. Going to jams and dancing and meeting people and, kind of not necessarily networking, but just knowing, seeing the different parts of the Bronx and, they catching what we was doing.
And when would you say, like, it really, really kicked off? What year would you say?
I believe it really kicked off in 1979 when Rappers Delight came out.
Wow.
That was the first successful hip hop project. Before then everything was more like it was more regional, like neighborhood guys doing things in their neighborhood. But after Rappers Delight came out, it became a worldwide kind of thing.
Now, did you start out kind of like at house parties or?
That's what basically hip hop was, house parties and So basically the red light party, and the thing with the parties was it wasn't no hip hop music to play, so they played all kinds of music, played slow records, played disco, R&B, it was reggae, we played all different kinds of music.
And we played records. We had the records albums were big.
Right.
And great. My God.
And also I remember in the Bronx, especially like a lot of the parks and stuff, breakdancing, where you get those cardboard down. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was a little bit after. That was after I stopped breakdancing. That was when they started b-boying on the cardboard. That was before I started because after they started spinning on their head, I didn't have enough hair on my head to take a chance to spin it on.
You
couldn't get any
that, So
you needed hair to get traction when you did that spin. But you know what? We're talking about a whole cultural impact here. And thank you for saying it came out of the need, right, for kids in the neighborhood.
Right.
I grew up in a neighborhood. I grew up hanging out on a stoop, and it was a different time. People weren't stealing kids then. You hung with your friends, and from that hanging, you were able to create things. It's very, very different now. The kids that are, and I want to talk to you about this, the difference between then and now in hip hop.
The evolution of
evolution. Thank you, Tim. Like, how do you think the difference is now?
Well, I think the biggest difference is the fact that hip hop it kind of got away from the actual essence of hip hop.
I agree.
It's more like a image thing. Like you have to have a certain image. You have to have this, and most of the images is like a street image. And I think that. I'm not going to say it's bad, but the thing is it takes away from the music element because street people are they're street people by definition because that's their thing. They're about the street. Music is an evolutionary process to where you might start in one place, but the music takes you somewhere else.
Yeah.
So having hip hop music be based on a street mentality and how music reacts to society, it makes the ghetto a permanent situation. To whereas the people that's in the ghetto don't want to leave, and then even so it don't help.
Yeah, it like glamorizes.
And that's the biggest difference from hip hop. When I was coming up, if you did something that wasn't the proper thing to do, somebody would check you on it. Like, they would. Now you can't do that. If you check one, a young kid now, oh, you hating, you trying to dim my light. You were smoking weed in your mother's house. That has nothing to do with hating or having bright lights. You know what I mean? And so it's like respect, and hip hop had a lot to do with it. Respect comes from the bottom up instead of true respect comes from the top down. Right. And that's the main problem. You start respecting things that don't make a lot of sense. You start respecting things that don't deserve respect. And that's what a lot of hip hop is. That's when you get, the gratuitous violence and the overt sexuality, all the profanity, the excess drugs, because you embracing things that don't need to be respected, and then you learn to respect it. So now it's all right for a drug dealer to sell drugs in his neighborhood because that's what he had to do to make money, and they got more respect for the working man. So the guy that goes to work and try to feed his family, he's a chump. But the guy that sells drugs in his community, he's a baller. He's he got all these glamorous terms for what he
he's the man, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I have to commend you on what you're saying from my limited experience with hip hop, listening to it, but I don't know the culture. I mean, you came out of the culture. I love everything you say. I'm listening to what you're saying and thinking they should have you talking in every high school, seriously, all around the country, for people that have embraced the bad things, the drugs, the violence, the use of guns, and all of that, because you tell it like it is, and you tell it from an honest place. And my God, you're somebody that youth can certainly look up to. What a great thing that you are bringing, by the way. And thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but I talk to kids all the time, and what I try to get across to them is, life is more like a marathon, and with hip hop, it teaches you about the sprint. Nobody you never hear the song about how somebody lived a full life or at the end of their life and they see things different. Everything is like it happens in real time. It happens today, and then you on Instagram and you're explaining about what it is going on today. None of that is an actual plan, and we all know it takes a long time to put a plan together.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I'm 60. When I was well into my 30s and 40s, 90% of what I was doing, it wasn't all that great. It didn't have nothing to do with, where I'm at right now, because I was just doing, things that I was doing when I was young that, it was fun. We was having a good time, but that is not the security and the safety blanket that you need to take care of your family and to live a long life. You know what I mean? So it takes a while, but just looking at when you watching videos and looking on YouTube, everything comes at you as like a glimpse, and you can't hold on to that for but so long, because time changes everything.
Thank you.
And so all these people that's into hip hop, they a lot of them are just stuck in time. 50's the new 40, 40's the new 30, 30's the new 20, and if 20's the new 10, then who's going to get a job? You know what I mean? Because you're busy trying to, you're busy trying to relive yesterday instead of, you got to look forward.
Absolutely.
That is so true for so many people. But what you're talking about, it's like you had an epiphany. First of all, I'm making a confession here. I love the song White Lines. I thought it was all about snorting coke and getting high. I remember dancing to that in clubs. And after I read how you feel politically now and how responsible, right, you are with your rap. I went back and listened to the lyrics, and it absolutely talks about how bad this whole thing is. So you must have had a bit of an epiphany to create that song. What was behind it?
Well, me just being, you know, in the music scene, because that's what it was all about. You know, and you know, from my understanding of music, I always thought that drugs went hand in hand with music, and in a lot of you know spaces it actually does. You know,
Yeah.
so we from the Bronx, we, you know, downtown hanging in the Village, and I'm trying to be a star. You know, so we in the club, and you know, I see Billy Idol. He's on one end of the bar, and he's doped up, and I'm on the other end of the bar, and I'm coked up. And I was like, you know, I'm a star. I made it. You know what I mean? So now creating the music and putting the song together, I try to put a song together, not like you want to tell a full story of what's going on within the song, instead of just, you know, instead of trying to, you know, like how they do right now. If the song is about drugs, it's about them selling drugs. And, you know, when I wrote White Lines, I tried to write a song about the drug and all the different aspects of what it contains.
What it could do.
So that's how the song comes out. You have the party element. You have, you know, and it basically at the end of the day is a cautionary tale. You know, you wind up doing a certain amount of drugs, or drugs wind up doing you. And you know, that's you wouldn't know that unless all those elements was in the song. And as a matter of fact, when I wrote the song, "Don't Do It" wasn't in there. The producer put it in there so that, you know, so that it just couldn't be a song about, you know, partying with drugs. It's like, it's the cautionary tale. You could party with drugs, but don't do it, because it's not going to turn out good.
Right. Yeah. And we're about the same age. I'm 62.
Right.
And yeah, I got caught into that drug scene and for 20 years, and it's quite a miracle I'm still here talking to you today.
Yeah.
But I did make it out, thank God. But now on this song, on White Lines, our producer Cameron Cole, he had wanted me to find out from you, because Duran Duran had done a remake of the song.
Right.
What is your opinion of the remake? What do you think of the remake?
But no, I loved it. I mean, when I first heard it, you know, I loved the song, and it was a funny story behind the song. They had did the song because they did an album, and the whole album was an album of remix. And I think they did Flavor Flav's 911 is a joke. But it was a song of covers, and it was, I think, Bad Boys 2. The producer of Bad Boys 2 wanted to put that song in that movie. And he was listening to the radio one day, and it was a rock station in LA, and they played Duran Duran's version. But the people that listened to the song, they were so captivated about our song, they thought it was blasphemy that Duran Duran would do White Lines over, and so the producer never put the song in the movie.
Oh, man.
Which I thought would have been huge, you know, because I thought the song I thought the song was it was
right.
A good song, but you know, no.
Yeah, you were cool with it. You were okay.
Yeah, some people were purists, so they was like, you know, how could they do that as blasphemy? I was like, could you shut up till I can get a check? You know what I mean? That would have probably been the biggest, biggest check I got that year.
Well, you have had so many accolades and awards, which we'll get into in just a moment.
Absolutely.
That have led up to last night's MTV's Video Music Awards, and I believe we have a clip.
We do. Thanks to Eileen Shapiro. Shout out to Eileen.
Love Eileen Shapiro.
I got a clip. Oh, that's great.
So let's take a look at that real quick. How about that?
We are Grandmaster Flash Interference 5. troublesome times and makes you wonder how I keep it going under.
Yes.
I had to put my glasses back on for that.
Me too. Me too. Look, you know what I love? The audience, the way it was received, your energy and the whole group, the words to the songs and all of that. Let me tell you, this is something that never goes out. It's permanent, it's in, it's modern, it's now.
Absolutely.
And one of the best ways you can teach the kids that aspire to the wrong stuff is your presence and you being out there and performing and doing all of this. You know, that was absolutely fabulous. Very powerful.
Yeah, and then one of the beauty about hip hop, you know, I talk hip hop with people all the time, and one of the beauties of hip hop is one of the only musics where the kids and the parents could actually listen to the same genre of music.
Yeah.
You know, because the songs are classic enough, and then even for the young, a lot of older people listen to young music because it's music. You know what I mean? So it kind of meshes in together. Like I said, you know, most of the people there, we was probably 30 years older than them, but they still knew the record. They still understand, you know, they still understand the relevancy of what it's all about, you know.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing within itself, actually.
It's a blessing within itself, but I have to ask, you know, it's a tough industry. Hip hop is probably one of the toughest aspects of music. What has kept you going that you can still turn it out on the level that you turned it out 30 years ago? What is it within you?
Well, I still like doing it. You know, I like performing, like getting on stage. You know, I like, you know, being around people. We just left the UK last week. We did a couple of things out there. You know, and I just love performing. You know what I mean? It's like that's one of the out of all the things that I've done in my life, like you know, the roar of the crowd. You know, that's like
absolutely
like this. You know, I mean, unless you know, and some people probably never understand it, but you know, you have to be there to understand it. But and I think that's the thing that makes fame in itself the most greatest drug, because it's the adoration of the people and the love of the crowd.
Yeah.
And I just still love it. So that's what keeps me going.
I hear you. I'm a singer myself, and I hear you with the response from the audience. And what, again, try to describe to us, like last night, this was like some of the best in the music industry that are on their feet, you know, and chanting for you and singing along with you. And what was that like?
Well, that's the spoils of war. That's the rewards from music. Like, you know, because see, doing it for as long as we've been doing it, I always tell people I'm in the reminiscent business. So you get on stage, and it's going to always be within 5 minutes. So within that 5 minutes, if you could make a person remember, or then you can make a person forget. So for the older people, you'll make them forget what's going on now, and they'll remember what it was back in the day. And then for a younger person, you know, you'll understand what's going on then. So now it's a different memory, and that's what I say. I'm in the reminiscent business. You get 5 minutes to make somebody remember something and or forget something, and then after that, it's back to normal.
Oh yeah, I agree completely. And music is one of the only mediums where that can take you back to a place and a time and certain songs will take me to a club that I used to go to, and I can smell the club, you know,
Absolutely.
And music is really the only medium that can do that.
And you can remember what you were doing at that point in time. It really is, at the end of the day, it's storytelling. You know, we hear this all the time now, storytelling. That phrase has become such a big phrase, but that's what you do with those words. You're telling a story, and you're bringing people back to a time when they felt good, or maybe they didn't feel so good. You know, maybe it wasn't a great time. It's really interesting to me. I know what Southern Boulevard was like. You and I are close in age. You know, how you became such a superstar, and it's such kudos and accolades to you, to any kid that can get out of a neighborhood, right, without the gazillions of, there's so many kids now that have, in this Kardashian world, that have opportunities laid for them. Man, you had to like fucking figure it out for yourself. When did you realize that you knew that hip hop would be the ticket out for you?
Well, I was about 17 going on 18. And, if you look at what you're doing at a certain time, and then you always got to reassess yourself. You always got to reassess the situation. And, I realized that, scholastically, I wasn't the greatest student, or, I didn't really have a trade, but I knew, that what we was doing musically, I actually had a job because we was making money. It wasn't a great amount of money.
At 17, so that's really cool. At 17, you were already getting paid for this.
Yeah, we made money. I was able to buy my own clothes, which I was never able to do, as far as with my family, because we didn't have a lot of money. So, at some point I just had to, it's like, you have to go all in. This is what I do. This is what I'm good at. Let me just, try to concentrate on this and try to get better at doing it. And I still didn't think that hip hop, it would be the same hip hop that it is today. I just thought that we would know how to do it. But the beauty about music and about hip hop is that you don't necessarily have to know how to do it to actually do it. It's just, it's music, so it's a blessing, and it's not, it shows no favoritism on who gets the blessing. It just, if the music hits you the right way, and if you're in the right place in the right time, and you could capitalize on your situation. And it happened with me, and since then it's happened, thousands of other people, thousands upon thousands.
Now, right place, right time. Back to White Lines. The video.
Place, right time. White Lines.
The video.
Yeah.
Starring Lawrence Fishburne.
Yep.
And directed by an unknown film student at the time.
Spike.
Tell us who that was.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a combination.
I love that.
Well, a quick story is Joe Robinson was the owner of Sugar Hill Records. He calls me into the studio one day, his office, and he plays the video. So I don't even think I recognized Larry Fishburne, but he was he'd been doing movies the whole time. But so I said, yeah, I like the video. Seeing Spike Lee joint. I like the video. He said, I said, so what are you going to do with it? He said, some college guy, some college kid sent it to me, and then he said, I told him go fuck himself. Right?
Great story.
So now, going back now, you go forward 3 years, 2.5, 3 years later, he called me back to the office again. He shows me the same video. This is after Spike did 2 or 3 movies, but he showed me the same video. And then, thinking he gonna try to put it out. And then I guess when he went to Spike Lee's people and asked that he put the video out, and from what I understand, Spike Lee sent the message to him and said, "Go fuck yourself."
Love it.
What goes around comes around.
Exactly.
Yeah,
what difference 3 years makes too.
And the moral to the story is, you never know who's going to be who, because Sugar Hill Records would have discovered Spike Lee.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
If he would have used it in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Which is why you always treat people with respect, no matter who they are. I mean,
right.
I abide by that all the time.
And another collaboration, Chaka Khan.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well,
and this is in the late 70s, early 80s. Like you had all of the sexy. You had the girl from Good Times. You had Lola Falana.
Yeah.
In Vegas, you had Pam Grier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
And
God,
you-
love Pam Grier.
And you had Chaka Khan for the record, so everybody loved Chaka Khan. But I was a kid then. As a matter of fact, one of the first concerts that I ever went to, Chaka Khan had headlined the concert.
Wow.
Years later, when we were making records, and it was an older guy, his name was Arif Mardin. It was his idea to do the record. They flew, they sent the track, and it wasn't like the studio was now. I put my voice down, they put it on a 2-inch tape, and then we sent the 2-inch tape to LA, and then I guess they mixed the record or whatever. I was, downtown hanging out at the Roxy's and all that, and I took a cab.
Yes.
And I was high. I was ridiculously high. And then I heard, Chaka Khan. I'm hearing that in the cab, and I'm thinking I'm tripping out, right? I'm in the back of the cab high, so I'm thinking I'm tripping. And then that's when I first heard the song.
Oh my God!
And a yellow cab coming uptown from the rocks. And then I didn't see Chaka Khan because we had did a tour, and we was overseas. We did a USO tour. And when the Grammys came around, they flew me from, we was in the UK. I went from the UK to New York and then to LA, did the Grammys that night, got up the next morning and flew back to New York and then back to LA to finish the tour. But that was the first time that I'd seen Chaka Khan.
Oh my God.
I was at the Grammys.
And you won the Grammy. Wasn't that best record?
Record of the year, yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm curious, like,
And
just the
I'm
reaction
sorry,
to you winning that Grammy with that record. That was really, whether intentional or not, Chaka Khan was really considered commercial, right? Was that considered a crossover for you? How did people react to that?
Yeah, it was definitely a crossover, and it was the first of its kind, like a hip hop R&B collaboration. I think to this day, I think that's still one of the best records. Actually,
I would attest to
it's
that.
a great record. It's my biggest record, and it was her biggest record as well. Great record.
But I do not want to overlook the fact that with the winning of Record of the Year, Chaka Khan smash hit, I Feel For You, you were the first rap artist to win Record of the Year.
Right. And another thing a lot of people don't know about that record, it was written by Prince. He had actually did.
Wow.
He has a version that he did. He didn't actually write it, but it was a remake. I Feel For You was a remake that Prince did.
Wow.
And then they just put Stevie Wonder on the record. It was a great record. Yeah.
I know. Let's just throw them all in, right? Prince, Stevie Wonder.
It blows my mind. My God.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of who's still around, right? Man, you have been through decades, and we've lost so many people, like Prince, losing we've lost so many big talents from that time. What do you think it takes to have somebody survive into now? Because I'm sure in the world you were in, you probably came close a couple of times.
Well, absolutely. But, and it all boils down to what fame is to the individual.
Thank you.
If like you got people where their fame is, I'm famous and I want you to know I'm famous, but I don't want to take a lot of pictures and I don't want to be in the crowd. My fame is like I provide a service. And it's just like anything else. It's like a doctor, a lawyer, or a teacher.
Right.
You provide a service, and that's your job. That's your lot in life. You write songs. You're an entertainer. So you go around and you entertain people.
That's your service.
So I don't necessarily mind, taking pictures and signing autographs, because I think the problem is where you have a problem when nobody wants your autograph.
Right.
So that's your problem. But if your only problem is people always want your picture and your autograph, you're doing pretty much all right. So that's the way I feel about my fame. So my version of fame is you always have to be ready to entertain people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not an easy job going on tour like people would think, okay, yeah, it's all glamorous. You had some of the biggest tours that went out. And on high level, high big money tours where the artist couldn't finish the tour because the scheduling and the routing is grueling, like it'll wear you out. So I actually, I trained to go on tour. You have to be in, your cardiovascular, you have to have good cardio. You have to, your immune system have to be strong. You know, you have to not necessarily watch what you eat, because you'll be eating on the fly. So you have to understand what the diet is, so that you don't, really overeat or eat too much of the wrong things. Right. And you have to be prepared to be famous. It's a preparation. It's not like, you just, you could just get up one day and do a whole tour. I guarantee you the average person is not in good enough shape. The average in shape person is not in good enough shape to do a whole tour.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look what just happened to Madonna. She had that whole tour plan. She got a bacterial infection that took her down, which can happen to anybody. But what you're talking about is like when you get prepped in the Army, right? They got to put you through your paces. You got to get your strength up there. And then you go to war. And in many ways, touring is going to war. But I'm sure, like when you were in your 20s, we all abuse ourselves in our 20s, right? Because we think we're never going to die. So you probably didn't prep so much when you were at that age.
Well, we kind of did. I mean, we always try to stay. Even when we was getting high, I always try to stay in shape. It's just that once you start getting high, you can't really, it overtakes you. So But I always wanted to prepare to be in front of a crowd. But just like, let's just say with this jacket that I got on right now, this is a jacket I could wear on stage. And I wear this on the street because you never know when you have to be on stage. It's not
My sentiments exactly. You have to be ready.
Right, people be in the airport, right? You go to the airport, and some people be in a sweatsuit, some people be in pajamas, and then a couple of times it happened, I lost my luggage, and then you have to go on stage with something. So I always, I'll dress so that no matter what, I can, if I lose my luggage, until I get my luggage back, I could go on stage and still look
that. I like that.
So you always have to be, in entertainment. That's a lifetime. That's a lifetime commitment, and it's a call. Yeah. Like I said, it's like a doctor, it's like a lawyer, it's like anything else.
Absolutely. Now I want to bring up your collaboration with Cricket Casey, the author, and the children's book called The Portal in the Park.
Right.
And also there were two songs that again were done by at the time an unknown Lady Gaga.
Right.
And you had performed.
Yeah. The woman had wanted to set up the studio time to do the soundtrack to the children's book, but she was real adamant about it. But I was trying to explain to her that's not the way you do music. You got to have a pre-production. You just got to plan and map things out. And I went down to the session just to for her to stop hounding me about it. So the girl is there. Okay, let me hear what you got. The song was pretty good. Very very talented young lady. We finished a couple of songs, and then we, for the album, and, got to know her, somewhat. And, she used to had a band like this, was like a college band, and did a couple of shows. So we went and seen her perform, some white soul kind of thing. Real good stuff.
Yeah.
7 months go by, and I asked the guy that we was all in the studio with one of my partners. I was like, because her name is Stefani. So I said, whatever happened to Stefani? And then he said, she's going to start doing club music, and she's going to change her name to Lady Gaga.
I love it. Wow.
And this is what I responded and said, have she lost her motherfucking mind?
What kind of shit is Lady Gaga?
But it worked. I mean, I would have never thought it, but and to this day, I thought that the stuff that she was doing then was just as good or even better. I actually thought it was better than the stuff that she's doing now. She's a very, 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 very talented young lady.
Yes,
talented.
I agree. Now, our Cameron Cole, our producer, he had just sent a message that said, did Melle ever meet Prince? He's dying to hear what Prince thought of Feel For You.
Never met Prince. Always one, and that was the closest doing the I Feel For You song. And I remember it was one year I think it was either the Soul Train Awards or BET, and they honored Chaka Khan, and I didn't know that the show had even came on until like, maybe a week later. And Prince was there, Stevie Wonder was there, Chaka Khan was there, everybody was there, but I wasn't there. And a lot of stuff, industry stuff, I never take personal. That was the only time that I really took it personal, because I would have had a chance to be on the same stage with Prince, Stevie Wonder.
Absolutely right. I wanted to talk to you about how you've been involved politically, because I think that's a really important message. I danced to your music. I knew who you were. I had no idea the amount of involvement politically with artists against apartheid. Can you talk a little about that and what you did with the Martin Luther King family as well?
Well, yeah, in music, I mean, music always translates into reality or into society. So, a lot of times you have a chance to use your talent to shine the light on certain certain things that's wrong, or certain aspects of society. And so and Lil Stevie actually, because he came up with the Sun City project, and actually me and Lil Stevie, I work with him in a program. He has a school program that he does now, and I have a hip hop little section, and I'm involved with that. And I think it's just something to do. And I thought that, the project from Sun City just brought all of these different musicians together, and it really shined a light on how unnecessary racism really is.
But that's a mantra for today, right?
Right, and I think, and to this day we made a lot of good friends from doing the project. The Martin Luther King project, that was something that came naturally. Me and Curtis Blow got with Dexter King, and we put the song together, and they put it out. But I mean, even to this day, I mean, I work a lot with the local politicians in the Bronx, trying to do some anti-gun projects and anti-violence projects, working with kids, Guns Down, Life Up, and but it's something that you have to do, because you have your music side, and then you have your realistic side. But the music side can help, can help, because that's the main thing. Everybody's a public servant when you look at it. It's something, it's something that you're doing. If you're doing something, it's something that you're doing. If you're a bus driver, if you fix elevators, a cab driver, those are all, that's public service. People don't look at it like that, and it might seem like it's a job, but I guarantee you, and a lot of people might not appreciate public service, but I guarantee you, if one day all the bus drivers got up and walked away, that would affect.
Absolutely.
So that job isn't, person would think that job is not an important job. It absolutely is an important job.
Absolutely.
And that's how I look at music. You're providing a service, and you have to use your star power to help to help people in other areas in the service that could be provided to them past the music.
Absolutely. Now, I know you have another show you have to get to after hours, but I just, one thing that some of the people are commenting, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get to all the comments today, but Beat Street, just mention about Beat Street.
Right. Oh, well, that song was, came from the movie that we did at Beat Street. I think it came out in 1984, so that was actually my best year, because Feel For You came out in 84 as well. But that song was inspired by the great Harry Belafonte, who had produced Beat Street. And we had sat down and had a conversation, and he was explaining all these things. And for those people that had listened to the words Beat Street, it basically had nothing at all to do with the film, but it had more to do with the conversation that that we had with Harry Belafonte, who was an entertainer and an activist in his own right. His history and his story. He was an activist in his own right, and it enlightened me. Having a conversation with him, it enlightened me on a lot of things And that was the inspiration of me writing the song Beat Street. It was talking to Harry.
And I just got a banner on here from Jay Lozada from Media Famous, who happens to be a great friend of mine and was really excited about you coming on. Super Rappin' and Flash to the Beat were one of the songs that inspired me to get into the music industry.
Very cool.
Ask Mel how he felt when Sugar Hill Records burned down in Englewood, New Jersey. Right.
When Sugar Hill Records burned down, I was overseas and I heard about it on the news. And then I was living in LA at the time, but for some reason I had flew into New York. I must have had a project or something that I was doing in New York. And I rented a car and then I drove out to New Jersey just to see, you know.
Wow.
Just to see. And this was like maybe about 3 days after, maybe 3 or 4 days after. And when I thought I was going to see like a burnt building or something, but it wasn't. It was just as flat as the ground. Like when they say it burnt to the ground, it burnt to the ground. It was like flat ground. And that was crazy.
Oh, that would be devastating. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because actually that building could have been, if it didn't burn down, it could have been like Motown, basically.
Thank you.
Now, a friend of mine, Mars Roberge, who is a film producer.
He's been on our show too.
He says being a kid from Toronto, seeing you in Beat Street changed my life forever. I even stopped listening to rap for a long time when you stopped releasing regular albums because I thought, what's the point without the GOAT, without the greatest of all time?
I appreciate it.
He says you still are and will ever be. I was upset when I heard they wouldn't let you enter the rap contest anymore. The Bronx needs a statue of you.
I love that.
It's very, very kind words. Thank you, brother. See, and that's the thing now. Just to because legacy wise, I mean, everything is secure. But you know, the thing with fame is, you know, is that's the what have you done for me lately game. So you know, we're trying to put out new music. I got with a great legendary writer, Randy Edelman. You know, we put a song together.
You just did a collaboration with Randy. This is great.
Yes. I think it's a nice song. When I first heard the song, it was, you know, thought it was a very inspirational, uplifting, poignant, you know, good writing. And put the song together, and we're gonna, you know, put it out, and you know, if we get the right promotion, I think it'll be something that especially hip hop nowadays need, because you need something diverse and a diversion from what's going on. Because like I said, you know, a lot of rap is, you know, is more like a frivolous, you know, today kind of thing. You need something that's more like sustainable, something that, you know, that somebody can listen to the song and you could take away something positive out of listening to a song, instead of just you listen to a song and all you want to do is go get high or you know, go to a strip club. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't do that, you know, can't do it forever.
Yeah. Well, Melle Mel, oh my God. I think the world of you. You are an amazing pioneer.
Yeah.
You have broke just such a leader in the industry. Grandmaster Melle Mel.
What's up next for you?
What's coming next for you? So what do you have coming up next?
Oh yeah, no, I always work on music. We trying to work on the Las Vegas residency. We doing a documentary. We got a bunch of things, you know. We in the works of putting together our own 50th anniversary tribute, like just with the guys, like just from the guys back in the day, not having like just something that we could do and put it together on our own. Just, you know, just to prove that we could actually do it. So then, because see, the whole thing with the 50th anniversary is they need us now. By next year, we shouldn't need them for anything.
Wow.
We should already be self-sufficient. And I mean, it won't be on a high level like Yankee Stadium, but it'll be something, you know, we don't need to be Yankee Stadium. We need just a version of things that we could do that's small, but it'll make us more money than we ever made.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so we're trying to put all of that. And of course, you know, being in the studio, doing new music, I always work on new music. Like I said,
Great
with
to
the
hear.
Randy Evans project. So we got a lot of things going on.
That's
You got
great
it.
to
You
hear.
got it going on, as we say. Well, so great that you have a busy day. You were on Mickey Burns. Now you're on this show. And next, for those of you who want to stay tuned, flip over to YouTube to the Jimmy Star Show with
Yep.
Ron Russell, because Melle Mel's going to be, my gosh.
But now we're going to sign off right now, but don't you sign off, because we want to come back and get a picture with you. Okay.
Okay.
So, but we'll
right,
roll the
cool.
credits here. But thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
This
you.
was
Thank you.
incredible. I'm just,
Thanks for having me.
let's all do the Bronx salute. Okay. As we're
Yay.
signing off, okay.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Bronx. Thank you, Melvin Mel.
Thanks.
Thank you.